Next thing I'm going to put on is the rocker panel, but before I do that, there's a panel that goes under the wheel well to fill that gap there. So that goes in first. I already did the one on the other side. I wasn't going to video this. Today, but it went on so quick I figured I'd do it. But the key thing to remember here is these bolts that go in through here, they have to be pointed down. Well, the big tab has to be pointed down. There's two tabs here. And then the other two, they've got to go up above the fender well on the inside, because they have a nut riveted to it that is what holds on to these bolts. So I'm going to just put one in here to hold it. Make that two. And then I'll put the two up from the bottom through the nuts that are riveted onto this panel I'm installing, or welded onto the panel I'm installing. All these bolts are 1/2 inch head. They've all got big washers on them so that the fit of the panel is easy to achieve. And then all we got to do is tighten them up. I am going to put the other rocker panel on the other side. I'm not going to video that, and the reason I'm going to video this side is, if you watch the video where I took the body off, this, it's almost like a rivet nut. The screws broke off in two of these, and I'm going to have to get a rivet nut. And I just checked my rivet nuts, and either I have the 1024s down in the barn, or I have to buy some. But I'm going to try to use a rivet nut in that, and I'll show you that on this side. And other than that, it's just bolting it on the other side. So I'm looking to put the rocker panel up, and last clip of the video I left off with, there are threaded inserts here. There's supposed to be one here, but the bolt broke off in it, and I had to remove it with brute force. And I was going to get a rivet nut and put it in there. So I ordered it, came back, and it's slightly too big for that hole. Now I could drill that hole out and put it in there. I'm not going to, because I don't want to create bare metal that will rust. So I'm not going to drill that. The replacement screws that I bought for the rocker panel come with nuts for the other side, so that's what I'm going to use. The other side didn't have this, but when I got this trim piece on this front end here, this rectangular shaped piece was on the back of it, and it had a non-standard screw because it was a flat blade, not a Phillips. So I think the way this is supposed to be put together is you screw this into this, and there's an oblong hole here that you might be able to feed that through and then twist it so that it holds it up. While you put in the other screws. And I should have brought some other screws with me. That would have helped. So that's leaning on the one stud where the screw goes in for now. While I get some screws and a screwdriver. I got some washers to put on the back of the holes that are a little bit bigger. But I'm going to get all these started. Make sure that's still in up there. And then I'll align it all and tighten it up. Now the holes in back of these are probably, on a couple of them anyways, are small enough that this would be enough to catch on the body, but some of them appear to be just a little bit big. So I'm going to try to find the hole. There it is. And I'm going to try to get, I brought over stainless steel washers, try to get that on the back. And these screws they're long enough, but there's not much play. You have to have it pretty close. The trim piece has to be pushed up against the body so that you can get the nut threaded on it, especially with a washer. It'd be nice if you could put this on prior to putting the body back on, but I don't think that's possible. And I'm dropping all my stainless steel pieces that I won't be able to pick up with a magnet. So there's some fiddling around you got to do here. So hopefully I'm going to get this one on camera, and then I'm going to shut the camera off, and if it takes too long to get this one on, just to give you an idea of what you're dealing with here, would have been much easier. Maybe I'll backtrack and go ahead and drill that out and put a dab of paint on it. And I just dropped the washer off the back end of it. It would be easier if that rivet nut was in there. No question. Because you could just start it into that. It would be in place. There's only about 1/2 inch. I don't have particularly fat fingers. If you do, this could be a real issue getting these on. Maybe I'll try putting it on with my right hand instead of my left. Since I am right-handed. My next thing I'm going to try, if I can't get this on soon, is to get a 3/8 inch wrench. Since this nut has a flare on it, I can put it in the wrench and hopefully use the wrench to put it where it needs to go. So here we go. The nut with the flare on it, which keeps it from pushing through the wrench, goes into the wrench. I'm going to try to use that to hold it up there while I put it on. Lost my washer. That's a ratcheting wrench. If you're going to do it this way with a ratcheting wrench, you got to make sure that it's set to tighten from that back end. Keep dropping those nuts. Okay, trying again. I had it on the wrong direction for tightening. Let's see. Because when it tried to go on, it just tried to ratchet. These black screws are hard to find on this black elastic ramp. Not the easiest thing in the world to get these on here. I guess if I wasn't trying to put the washer on, it would be a bit easier, but it certainly would be easier if I had the riv nut in there. But like I said, I don't want to mess up the painted metal by drilling it bigger. Every trick I know to try to get this on here. The other side wasn't easy either, to be fair. I think I just lost the nut out of the wrench again. I did. Maybe I should take these gloves off. I was doing some painting of a little bracket for the front bumper, and I didn't want to get paint all over my hands, so that's why I have them on in the first place. Hopefully I've got that tight enough against it that the washer didn't move. Yep, washer moved. So I guess the lesson here is if you take these off, be prepared to spend some time putting them on, because it's not the easiest thing in the world. There's little clearance. You gotta reach probably about 3 inches to get to the back of the screw, and then by that time you're pretty much balancing the nut on your fingers or the washer. There are 2 more after this one. They may have a little more clearance. This is a tough one. Okay, I'm going to shut the camera off and do this off camera. So that only took 2 or 3 minutes, and the trick, I think, was I was trying to do it this way. I moved my body over this one. It changed the angle of my wrist just enough that it made it a little easier. So we're going to do this. I'd start with that. I had another stainless washer over here that has escaped. The next one further down appears to be, let's hope. Yeah, there's more room to get to the back of it. So screw through. Washer on the back of it. The frame juts in towards the middle of the car right about here, so you got a little more room to get your left hand in. On this side, I guess on the other side would probably be your right hand. Lost the washer again. And this one, the washer is more important because the hole is just a wee bit bigger. And this one didn't come with a, I'll call it a rivnet. I don't know what they had in there, but it was stock. It had a nut on the end. So I guess if you were working in the factory, you got good at this. Because maybe they employed people with small hands for this job. Like I said, my hands aren't all that big. And I'm having a bear of a time getting my fingers up in there. I'm going to try my right hand. I'm going to just knock the washer off again. Had it on there. Yep. Okay, one more in the back here before I tighten them all up. this one again has a bigger hole in the back, so I want to put a washer on it. Those bigger holes do give you some wiggle room to adjust it for fit, but I just don't think that the nuts they gave me were big enough to actually hold without coming halfway through the hole that's there. You know, if I can reach my screwdriver, I think I got that where I can get it. Okay, so we're all started. Took longer than you would think it would take. Now I can reach behind there and hopefully get a wrench on the nut. Tighten it up. These two are on threaded inserts. I don't need to hold it in the back. There is a bit of a body or something right above where this screw is, or the nut back here rather. So it does kind of get in your way a little bit as you're trying to put that on. Excuse me. Finally got the wrench on the back of it. Well, this one in the front has that little rectangular piece, and I've got it vertical now. It would slip through the body horizontal. Then when you twist it vertical to tighten it, it catches on the body there.
It's 1:50 p.m.
Time to check my paint and recoat the other side. So, but the rocker panel is on. One step closer.